Relax, the keyboard is off, the press box is closed, and the mic is just getting warmed up as the Guardian of the Blue Paint turned writer is about to enlighten us. The show where the writer is fresh off the presses and the ink is not dry. For this week's show, the state of the Philadelphia Flyers. Welcome to the Hockey Writers Ink. Join Lance and Steel as we bring you all the latest on the Flyers.
Hi guys, welcome back to another edition of the Hockey Writers Ink. As always, I'm your host, Lance Green.
And as always, sitting Mike's side here is your co-host, SteelFlyers. How you doing, Lance?
I'm all right. How about yourself?
Oh man, I'm telling you, how was your New Year's?
Good. Stayed, home with the family. Did all kinds of stuff with the kids. So had a lot of good food.
There you go. Right. I saw the spread. It looked pretty good, right? All good. So that's good, man. Glad to hear. We got some great stuff to talk to you guys about on the show. And Lance put out another great article and everything like that. And we also got some great news for you as well, too. Just lean back a little bit, Lance, and let the folks see what you're wearing there. Yeah, take a look at what we got on here, right? So we got a chance and an opportunity to be sponsored by Manscaped. And we're going to run a little commercial and everything for you guys and stuff like that. But from now on, at least for the moment and how things are going to roll, support SteelFlyers or support Hockey Writers Ink is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 7 million men worldwide, including your hosts and co-hosts as well, who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. You can go to their website, 20% off, plus worldwide shipping is included. Right? All you have to do is type in the code Hockey Writers Ink, all one word. That's HOCKEYWRITERSINK, Hockey Writers Ink, and get 20% off your entire order. And if my math's correct, that's about 14 million balls, man. What do you think?
Hey, man, that sounds pretty good. I love these products. So, and so does my wife. So can't complain about that. Happy wife, happy life.
Amen to that, man. You know what I'm saying? So for sure, man, go to manscaped.com, go to the performance package, check that out, and get 20% off typing in the code Hockey Writers Ink and get 20% off. So big thanks to Manscaped for their support, and we're going to get right into the show. Speaking of which, we're on episode 107. Wow, 107. And for this episode of 107, we're going to be calling it The State of the Philadelphia Flyers. We're in a new year. We're just about halfway, right? And all kinds of fun stuff going on with the Flyers so far. Some of it good.
Imagine that.
I mean, can you imagine that? Some of it good. First, we're going to do, though, is talk about the article that Lance just posted out on the SteelFlyers.com website. Just the, yesterday?
Yes.
Yeah, just yesterday. And I have to tell you something, Lance. This is a perfect article at the perfect time that we need to be talking about this. Yes, the Flyers have won a couple of games, but for the most part, this article is about building the future, and some of the foundational blocks of that future building are already on the team.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what was the inspiration reasoning behind this most awesome article?
Sure. Well, it was just that, this team, in all actuality, we know is not going to be truly competitive. I'm talking cup contenders, everything like that. I'm not talking about making the playoffs and losing in the first round. I mean legitimate chance at winning a cup again for at least a couple of years. And so when I was thinking about that, I was thinking about, well, who on this team could be in that group of individuals in the future who is going to be there to lead the way for still these younger guys like Cutter Gauthier and everybody else who is still to come coming up the pike, right? So there's a couple of people, that obviously some people I've already gotten some retorts back, and guys saying like, well, why not this guy? Why not that guy? Well, like Scotty Lawton. I love Scotty Lawton, but I had a gentleman hit me up saying, oh man, he's the guy that's leading the way right now. Yes, but he's also 28 years old, and I don't think he's going to be there by the time this team is competitive, or at least not a factor. You know what I mean? In 4 or 5 years down the road.
Saying. I mean, he is signed for what, the next 2 seasons after this?
Right. But I don't think it's going to be 2 seasons that the Flyers are going to be this kind of competitive that I'm talking about. I think it's going to take at least. I think it's going to take at least 5 years before this team is really, really competitive and running like a full, oiled machine there.
Okay, so now when you mean by competitive, do you mean by not
contending.
Just cup contending? So that means going to the Eastern Conference Finals,
yes,
maybe 2 years in a row or something like that, right? Okay, right. So that's what you're talking about, right? Okay.
Yeah, not a first round playoff knockout, no.
Okay, so what you're saying is that you're expecting the Flyers within 5 years. Now, this is past Tortorella's contract currently, and is past any of the other current management that's anywhere near anything like that, right? So you're talking about 5 years from now.
If done right.
2028.
And that's the key. That's the key. That's the key there.
I tell you what, Lance, I really like that type of forward thinking. My only concern is it too far out?
I think I would love to see it happen earlier rather than later, but I think it depends on these next couple drafts. I think
I agree.
And free agencies. They cannot go on that. So
I want to talk about who you mentioned in the article.
Sure.
As part of these foundational blocks. Mm-hmm. Okay, now, are you expecting these guys to be here in that 5-year span?
Yes.
Okay, all right. I wasn't sure, so I was just trying to clarify. And okay. So let's talk about the building block number 1 you have listed in your article, and that is Travis Konechny.
Right. Now, Travis Konechny has been an up and down guy. He started out, coming out of juniors, a highly talented scoring threat. He previous, to these past couple of years, he was a 24 goal scorer 3 years in a row. Mm-hmm. So he knows how to put the puck in the net. I think he was lost, in the Alain Vigneault era. I don't think he was really coached or thought of as the player that he is. And, he kind of turned into almost just a pest, and not even a Brad Marchman pest that could be offensively productive as well. He was just a pest, a guy that would go out and try to get penalties taken against him and everything like that. But now that John Tortorella has been able to come in and set his needs and what he wants out of the team. The 25-year-old Travis Konechny is really coming back to what he knows, and he's performing at a 1.15 point per game pace right now. He has 19 goals, 18 assists for 37 points in just 32 games. That is not that bad considering. That is actually really good considering the horrible lineup that the Flyers have been putting out on a nightly basis because of all the injuries. All right. He's basically doing it all by himself. Kevin Hayes has been there at times, but he's even, in AV's doghouse right now. So I really think AV looks like his old self again. and Travis Konechny looks like his old self again, and it's refreshing for sure because this kid is still relatively young at just 25. He has a lot of good, years left, and if he continues on this pace this season alone, he's projected to score 45 goals, 43 assists, and have 88 points, which would be an absolute career year for him. But that's a lot saying. That's 21 more goals than he has previously scored in a single season. So that is a big ask for him to continue on this trend, but that is the type of game that he is playing right now. So the Flyers fans should wake up and see the good things, like you were saying earlier, that are going on with this team and with this Tortorella offense, despite having basically no offense besides Konechny right now and a few others.
Okay, and that's the thing, right? Because it's like Tortorella has the system in place. It's just that the Flyers don't have the talent or the skill to play that type of system. And so this is kind of what you get. You know what I mean? They're fighting and then they're in games. Do you know what I mean? But they just lack that talent and skill. Seriously. I mean, that's basically what it boils down to. Sure. I mean, to hang with some of these top tier teams, if you want to be like what Lance is talking about, being not just a contender, just barely squeaking into the playoffs and then getting trounced in the first round. No, we want to see the Flyers get back to where they were, back to their relevance, where they were making the playoffs 18 out of 20 years, and then they were making it to the second or third round of the playoffs. They were making it. You know what I mean? So I'm with you on that. And I do think that ever since TK has gotten under Tortorella's system, okay, because we saw AV not use his players to the best of situations at a good portion of the time that he was here, okay? And he even had the likes of Giroux and Couturier and stuff like that. Tortorella doesn't have that luxury.
No.
He's got a much less full cabinet to pick from of guys that he has to trust and rely on to be the horse on this cart. Right. You know what I'm saying? So Travis Konechny, I think, yeah, and I really like the team-friendly deal that he signed. That was actually one of the better deals.
That Chuck Fletcher
that Chuck Fletcher is in. Hey, that's one for Chuck.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say that last year because of the way that Konechny was going. But to that, I think that Nolan Patrick kind of leaving and everything kind of hit him hard. They were really, really close.
Yeah.
And, that kind of really set him back. And, I think they were even like traveling, roommates and all that stuff. So
they were.
Yep, they were. That kind of messed him up for a little bit too. But I think he seems to be back on track for sure.
I like the influence of Tortorella on Travis Konechny. Even when they sat Travis Konechny, he took it like a professional and did what you're supposed to do, which is look inside yourself and find what you need to do in order to meet the goals of what the coach set out for you. If you can't do that, then you're going to stay where you were. But he was able to overcome that. You know what I mean? Yeah. I like the next name on your list. I'm liking the arrow of it pointing upward with this young player. And we're talking about Owen Tippett.
Sure.
Now, hasn't quite gotten the chances that he did last year because and quite honestly, I think the reason why he got that many chances is because he wasn't playing under a system. He was just told to go out and just make it happen.
Right.
Now he's under a system.
Well,
Okay.
and he's got a coach that trusts them. He sees what and he pushed him. He definitely pushed him early on. He said he said to Owen, like, I don't know what to expect from you. I don't, and to Morgan Frost as well. I think he said that, where I want to see what you have. Like, I hear good things, I see good things in practice, but you need to show me on the ice what I can expect from you, so I know what to do with you. And I think he's done it this year for sure. Um, Acquired obviously the big piece for Claude Giroux. I really liked him coming out of juniors. Sharpshooting guy. He has had an NHL shot since he was probably 16 years old. And nobody's really given him a fair shot for any length of time on any consistent line with anybody. Um, And to be honest, he's still not really getting that. He's getting top 6 minutes right now, which is great, which is what he needs. But he's still been moved around with different people just because of the injuries on the team. But just think of what he can do now. Now this season, he's second on the team in goals, I believe, behind Travis Konechny, and he has 12 goals, 8 assists for 20 points in 33 games played. That is pretty darn good. He's projected, if he continues on this path, to score 28 goals, 19 assists for 47 points. That would
I'll
be
take that all
amazing.
day long.
Heck yes, that'd be amazing, considering that would absolutely blow his, previous career highs of like what 7 or 8 goals, away. If he can turn
Right.
his player into a 25 goal scorer or better every year, that would be an amazing thing, especially because he is only 23 years old.
Yeah.
So he's going to be there for the future, upcoming, and he's only making up $1.5 million this season, and he signed through next season with that same contract. So a bargain if he does finish the season, 25 goals, and you're only paying him, $1.5 million. I think how you can better this kid and ensure his production stays where it is to get him somebody on the ice that can get him the puck on his tape, and he'll do the rest. It's simple. He knows where to be. He's a smart hockey player. All right. But he needs to have a consistent top 6 outing every game, and he needs somebody to be able to get him the puck on his stick. Now, to be honest, the fact that he's been able to do this with, Kevin Hayes in and out of the lineup recently, and guys like Morgan Frost and Noah Cates being the only people to really play that, because the Flyers absolutely have no centers when they're playing Morgan Frost on the first line. I mean, come on. But and I like Cates. I really do like Noah Cates. He's uptrending, but I don't think he's anything more than a third line center at this point. And he's definitely not going to be on any fantasy hockey teams, that people have right now. So to see the production, the great production that this kid has been able to put out with the hodgepodge group of players that the Flyers have been able to put out this season has been amazing. And
I agree.
it goes, transcends in my mind, at least, to saying, now, what could he be able to produce in a couple of years when he's got some talent around him?
At the prime of his career.
At the prime of his career, when he's sitting 25, 26, 27 years old. And now we've got Cutter Gauthier, maybe Devin Kaplan coming up, Alex Bump coming up. Some of these guys, Alex Gendron.
Stop it, man! You're making me swoon.
Bobby Brink coming up and hopefully healthy. This is what excites me. The Flyers now don't excite me.
Yeah.
but the thought of what is to come, especially if they do tank this season and continue on this trend and maybe get another top 5 pick, now you're starting to get a group of young players that can truly contend in the future. And that is what this article is about. Guys that will be around, that are foundation building blocks for this team in the next couple of years when they're truly, taking off.
I can see that in the Cutter Gauthier pick. I can see that because of watching him play in college and then play in the World Juniors. You can see that capability is there because we saw that in Cam York, which ironically is the next name on your list. Boy, isn't that an amazing segue how that works?
Wow, look at that. Right. Now, Cam York. Now, there's a couple of things about Cam York, but we'll get to it, all right? Now, Cam York is 21 years of age. He's still a very young defenseman, but he has done a lot in a short amount of time as far as his hockey career goes, okay? He was captain of Team USA and won a World Junior gold medal, all right? He has taken over when he went to Michigan and led the Wolverines to some very good seasons while he was there. No national championships.
No, but they did make it to the Frozen Four.
Yeah, some definitely good teams he was playing on, and just really, really, I think if he stayed there, thank goodness he didn't, so he could hurry up and turn pro because I think he's that good. But if he stayed there, I think he would have definitely won a national championship.
Yeah.
But and already this season, he was originally slotted to be a shoe-in, right? To be on the Flyers this season. But Tortorella coming in and being a new coach, he really gave York every chance that he could before the start of the season, and he really just didn't show it at that point. So what did he do? He went down to the AHL. He really picked it up and learned it playing first line minutes, playing power play minutes, penalty kill, all the above, and really was able to push his game to the point where it is now, where he's been able to be called up when injuries occur and everything else on the defense, and just them sucking all together anyway. To be able to be needed enough to be pulled up at just 21 years of age and really come in just 10 or 11 games this season.
Something like that, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So far, right? He's been able to not only score a goal and 6 assists for about 7 points, which my defensemen, I don't care if they're scoring a point a game. I want them to defend, right? But so that in the case, he's already leading the team, leading the defensive core anyway, in plus minus, which is a huge stat in this old goalie's mind. There's other stats out there that can prove a lot more now too, but plus minus is a big thing for defensemen. I don't care how many goals you score on defense. If you are on the ice when your team lets in more goals than it is scoring, that's a problem, okay? So he's a +6, all right? That's better than, say, Provorov, who's getting paid a boatload of money, to be a -10, D'Angelo, who's a -9, Ristolainen, who's a -5 right now, and Sanheim, who's a -3. Okay, Justin Braun is a +1, and that's about it for everyday guys. And this kid has been able to come in being on a third pairing, which is a problem in my mind as well.
Agreed.
For his development, but on a third pairing role, he's a +6. He's already stepped in, and he's really stepped up the power play on the second power play. All right, he's moving the puck a lot better and creating chances. So, my thing here is the future. If he's going to be your future, and you think of him high enough to be drafted in the first round, drafted before he was drafted before, and we're not going to get into that because that's a whole thing in itself. But he's going to need to be playing some more hockey, right? And Cam York why he didn't develop last season was the fact that he's a left-hand shot defenseman. And when he was called up last year, he was forced to play the right side because of injuries. All right. And it blows my mind why the team wouldn't ask, say, Ivan Provorov, who's also a left-hand shot defenseman, to move over to the right side for that time period. Who's already 5 or 6 seasons into his career at that point, rather than sticking a Green Guild 20-year-old and forcing him into top line minutes in the NHL on his non-dominant side. That is not setting this player up for success. That is setting him up for failure. So this season,
you know what, Lance? I think that was the reason why he didn't come into camp right ready to go. Okay, I really think that contributed to why he wasn't ready to go, because we all thought that, we saw how he played. He was a much better player playing last year towards the end of the season. We all thought he was going to be, just like you said, slotted in as one of the D-men, and that just wasn't the case.
Well, and that is still a problem, but at least Tortorella is playing him on the left side and, allowing him to be the defenseman that he is. But the problem here is, for the future, Provorov, who is a career minus 21, is signed until the end of 2025 for $6.75 million. Okay, he's a left-hand shot defenseman. And then the Flyers just went out and re-signed early as well. They re-signed Sanheim to 2031, which is ungodly amount of time for defenseman that is not that great in my mind, but they signed him for $6.25 million until 2031. All right, this blows my mind, because now
not good moves, Chuck.
Right now the team has got $13 million tied up in 2 left-hand shot defenders when their first round pick is a left-hand shot defender. He's buried on the depth chart, obviously. And do they really expect him to sit and play 2 or 3 seasons until Provorov's contract is done before he can get top 4 or top 2 pairing defensemen minutes? It's crazy in my mind, and this is what I would say. They have to really go out and try to move Ivan Provorov's contract. You're not going to move Sanheim's contract. It's for a bazillion years, and it's an inflated amount of money for a guy that's, in my mind, 3rd or 4th best defender on the team, and it's not even a good team.
I would like to see Sanheim and York switched. I would much rather see York be making that kind of money and playing that kind of minutes instead of Sanheim.
Well, I mean, he's still on an entry-level deal, so you don't even have to pay him that kind of money.
I understand that, but I'm just saying I would like to see, if I could have my druthers, you know what I mean?
Sure, but yeah, I mean, to give it time, because Chuck, if he keeps his job, he'll overpay him too. So why not, right? I don't know. So
if he keeps his job,
he'll be sure to overpay him and have 3 left-hand shot defenders that are making $6 million. Who knows each? So, but
$21 million wrapped up in 3 left-hand shot defenders that only one of them is a +6.
Right.
What?
Right. And then, not to mention, Ryan Ellis, paying him all kinds of money to not even play. But, this is the thing, though. They need to try to move Provorov's contract either at the deadline or at this season, because that is a hindrance. And now it's even more of a hindrance now that Ryan Ellis is going to be out, and we're still having to pay him, at the point, and can't spend that money in free agency, because you can't really put him on long-term IR until the start of the season. So there's an obvious problem here. And, if you're going to have Cam York stay around and be part of your future, you're going to need to allow him to continue to grow his game and play top 4 minutes. And, And right now, I don't see how you're going to do that. Are you really going to put if anybody would, it'd be Tortorella, but are you really going to put one of those other two guys who's making $6+ million, in a third pairing role? I know I would, but there's a there's a reason why that Chuck needs to lose his job, and these two contracts are part of it.
I agree. I agree with you 100%, man. I think these are specific reasons why that he should not be still as general manager of the team. We have talked about this on numerous occasions as far as what we feel where all of these things are going to shape up and how they're going to fall down into the situation. And that's kind of why I wanted to get into the state of the Philadelphia Flyers, because you talked about the future building blocks. And one of the things that you didn't even mention in the article, which is maybe might be something for a new article coming up, would be, what are we going to do with the goaltending?
Well, that would be a whole. I was
we
going
could
to
probably do a whole show just on that.
Yes, and we
All
probably
right.
will at some point.
Okay.
But yeah, that's a whole long drawn out article in itself.
All right.
I think so.
I didn't mean to step into that big hole there. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's an article that I've kind of waiting to write until I see a couple of more games here. We'll have to see.
I'm with you because to me, that is going to be the key moving forward. Instead of trying to count on this guy and count on this guy and count on this guy and count on this guy, why don't you go get somebody that you can count on? I mean, there's going to be a number of goalies that'll be available at the end of the season, whatever the case is. There's probably goalies that you could trade for right now. Yes, I'm actually talking about potentially trading Carter Hart. What can we get for him? And this kind of plays into the whole building of the future. If you trade Carter Hart, you need to be able to get a goalie you need a starting goaltender. You need a guy that, I'm not talking about a Dominic Hasek or a Martin Brodeur, but I need a starting goalie that's going to be able to win me, more than 24% of the games that I'm in.
24. Sir, he wins 41% of his games. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
That's not good either, for sure. That's still losing season after losing season after losing season.
I mean, but you get what I'm saying, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a thought that is now being processed by a lot of fans. In 173 games played in his NHL career, he's only won 72 games. That's not good numbers. That's 41% of his starts. He's got a career average, goals against average of .295. That's almost 3 goals a game. He's got a career save percentage of .906. That's not great. It's not bad, but it's not NHL starting. No, for sure.
So that's what I'm talking about. Okay. And here's the thing about Carter Hart is, and look, I'm not trying to downtrodden him at all by any stretch of the word. I would love to be able to see him be the player we all hope that he could be. Mm-hmm. But I'm just not seeing it. And yes, his play has been elevated this season because of the Tortorella effect. Do you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But not a significant amount, or not a significant enough of it is him.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, even though Dominic Hasek and even Ryan Miller, they all played for garbage teams, but they were able to steal games. And shut out teams, and you're just not seeing that from Carter Hart. He is just not that dominant goalie that the Flyers have lacked since Ron Hextall.
No, for sure. And to put on that, in 5 seasons now, Carter Hart hasn't developed to be that. When everybody says, okay, he's only 24, blah, blah. Okay, he's played 5 seasons in NHL. When is he going to prove his worth, his true worth?
When's that breakout season? When's that
breakout season? His career highs are 24 wins. Like,
that's where the 24 came from, by the way.
Right. That
his career, tell me that that he's only had 24 wins. That's it in one season,
and that's it. And as you were saying, shutouts. He's only had 3 shutouts in 5 seasons. All right, no shutouts this year. Like you said, he's not stealing any games for the Flyers. He's showed up. He's played. He's had good games, but he hasn't stopped that a miraculous save, breakaway, from the other team's best player that kept them in it, and they went down and scored another goal. He's stopped the shots that he needed to, right? But not much else. Not much else to really, he's definitely kept the team in games at times, but he hasn't stole a game here and there that pushes you into the playoffs, maybe, instead of just not making
pushes you to that goaltender number 1 status,
right?
Where you can steal some games, right? Look, when there's a breakaway on goal, I pretty much think that's going to be a goal, right? When there's an odd man rush, I'm looking for that to be a goal against us, right? Because 9 times, let me rephrase, 6 times out of 10, it's gonna be. Okay?
Yeah.
I don't like that ratio. I want that goalie that's going to be able to make that stop, because that is game killing. Okay, when you get that mistake that happens and suddenly the other team trounces on the loose puck and there's 2 guys going through the neutral zone and they're coming down and there's only 1 D-man and boom. That's how games are lost.
Well, especially now in this era when you have not the long extended overtimes that you had before, you have the 4-on-4 play, and then it goes to a shootout. And if you're not a good 1-on-0, goalie, you're not going to be so successful in this league anymore, because especially if you're supposed to be the number 1 guy who's going to face those, if you go to shootouts and lose the majority of them, you're not going to be a successful NHL goalie. You're not going to be a playoff, a team. So, that is a big thing. And Carter Hart, in my mind, is not a shootout goaltender. He has not had great success in the shootouts at all.
No. Look, like I said, I'm not trying to, we've had a lot of good, positive conversation about the building blocks of this team, but I really think that what really needs to be addressed is goaltending. And I'm very concerned about Carter Hart and the direction of where he's going. And I don't see him as part of the success of this team moving forward. I just don't.
No, I mean, unless he seriously changes stuff, I don't see it either. And now everybody's jumping on, Sam Urison. If I'm butchering that, I'm sorry, Sam.
No, you're good. You got it.
Right,
Sam
but
Harrison,
but he's won 3 games, right, back to back. Okay, but who'd he win him against? The Kings were a decent team, but the Ducks and the Sharks are along 8th, 7th, and 8th in the Pacific, and are worse teams than us right now. We have more points. We would be drafting after them. So don't go out buying this kid's jerseys just yet. He's still 23 years old, and he's only played a couple of games in the NHL, so he may develop into be decent. But and right now, I think he's a better backup than Felix Sandstrom. But remember, his first game against Carolina, who's the only playoff team that he's played so far. He got shelled for 5 goals. Let's not celebrate and put this kid's number in the rafters just yet. Yeah. Okay, he's still got some grooming to do.
Oh, I
Um,
agree. And he's
but
still so very young too, but
for sure, but don't do to this kid what you did to Carter Hart and put him up on a pedestal that he can't get down from.
so that's another thing I think was the other huge mistake that was done by the Flyers. They should have listened to Ron Hextall and let Carter Hart develop in the AHL. And I think if they would have done that, I don't think we'd be having these conversations about Carter Hart right now. Honestly, I don't, because he would have had that opportunity to work those kinks out, to get that kind of thing going down there in the minors, and get work all that stuff out down there. You know what I mean? And in that process, you learn how to become a pro. He had to learn how to be a pro while he was a pro.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like, he was
I
learning
did.
on the fly, and that's usually never a good thing for a goalie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're a
Yeah,
goalie.
right. Yeah, I mean, they did have Brian Elliott there, which I think was would be a better coach than anything that he would have gotten in the AHL.
All
I
right.
don't think the Flyers have a system that's set up of coaching and player development coaching, and we've talked about this
You
before,
might be
that
onto something there, Mr. Green.
would have been able to develop Carter Hart the way he should have. And that needs to be addressed as well
Yep.
in tearing down this whole
Yep.
kit and caboodle down to the bones and rebuilding this team back up.
Ooh.
All right. So would he have been a better goalie if he stayed in the NHL? I don't know. I mean, I don't think Ian LaPerriere is a great
Well, but
coach.
he wasn't even the
Right,
coach at that time
right,
either. You know
right,
what I mean?
right,
So,
right. And so that's just stands the test of time. I don't think they've had the best coaching down there for some time, and I don't think they have great goaltending coaches. I've written articles on that in the past as well,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
so all those problems need to be fixed if you're going to develop these players, if you're going to develop them. And the Flyers don't develop their own players. They, send them to the NCAA and let them go play in the NCAA like they have with Cutter, like they have with Cam York in the past, and say, hey, here, teach
Even
these
with
guys how to play
JVR.
hockey. You're right. Yeah, JVR. Teach these guys how to play hockey for us and make them good pros so that, as soon as we get them, they'll be able to play pro hockey at the NHL level because we can't develop our own talent.
So this is I'm gonna give you a quick little.
Let me add one more thing. I.e., we can't develop our own talent. I.e., Morgan Frost, Isaac Radcliffe, who else? Tyson Forrester, who's been down in the minors. Where did Wisdom go? Wisdom was doing so great, and then he's gotten to the Phantoms and nothing. It really is a place where good prospects go to die. Is the
Philadelphia
Phantoms?
Flyers.
Right, and that's sad. They need to be able to develop their own prospects a little bit better.
That's the thing that I was going to address right there, Lance, is that this team, for the longest time, has, I mean, like, when you hire a guy like Eric Desjardins to be your player development coach, right? What exactly is that role? So you're thinking, okay, Eric Desjardins, he was the captain, great defender, awesome hockey player. What is that role? Okay, that's the role where you teach the guys how to be pros. All right. You teach them how to work out. You teach them how to show up to the rink every day, whatever you do. All right, cool. So we need a guy like that who has a team of people that is able to go to all these minor league games, AHL games with these guys, watching these guys all the time, making sure this is what's going on. They need a coaching system in the minors that mimics what's going on the big club. Okay? You need Instead of sending these guys, look, I'm not saying you and I both know the awesomeness of the NCAA's hockey, what they're doing. But I'm more of the ilk of, okay, you let the kid go play hockey for 2 years, then you bring him into your system and let him play in the minors for the next 2 years, right? And get him down there and get him everybody gelled, get coaching to where the AHL team is coaching the same system as the NHL team, right? And do like what Anaheim and LA and even like what Seattle is doing, right? You know, all their guys are all in-house, right? And they're teaching their guys how to be pros, and they're teaching them how to play in their system and everything else like that. All you have to do is look at Seattle now and next year, what they're going to be. Oh my gosh, man. I can't even believe that it's Dave Hackstall as the coach.
Well, I don't think, I don't know. I don't know if Dave's, coaching the best itself, but
I'm going to tell you something about Hackstall as a coach.
Definitely got a better system altogether, for sure.
He has a great system that he put in place at North Dakota, and that won championships, got him to Frozen Fours for 9 years. Okay, he's doing the same thing with Seattle because all they are draft picks. Okay, so in a couple years, maybe his message is going to be old. But for right now, I think he's the right coach for them right now because of his background and experience of coaching national championship North Dakota teams for many years in a row. You know what I mean? Now he's doing the same thing with all these young players now. Yeah, they got a couple of veterans on the team, but for the most part, Seattle is draft picks.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that. But
me too.
I think he relies a little too heavily on his third and fourth line. Always has, and stuff like that. So there's some issues with him as well. But I do like him for the young guy. Yeah, I do like him for the younger guys. So
right. But this is what I'm trying to get to here. And the Flyers are so disjointed in this area. They don't have the proper coaching in the minor leagues that's teaching the same system that Tortorella's using, or a semblance thereof, or something. Because we saw it when everybody gets called up for the Flyers, it takes 3-4 games for them to get acclimated if they're even here that long. Right? I mean, let's face it. The only reason why a guy gets called up is because he's a little bit talented, and he's done really well. Well, now you're going to play in a bit of a different system now because Tortorella's coaching you a different system than what Ian LaPerriere's coaching. I don't understand that. That doesn't make sense to me. Why don't you have your development coaches developing these guys instead of the NCAA and the OHL and the WHL and all these other minor leagues? Yeah, I get it. Guys have to go in there and play, but once you draft them, you should be bringing them into Philadelphia in some way, shape, or form, in my opinion.
At least the higher ones, yeah. At least the higher draft picks and stuff.
Okay.
Right away. Yeah.
JVR wanted to go play in college. All right. After your second year, you're coming back. Same thing with Cutter. Let him play in 2 years in college and get real good in the whole 9 yards, and then bring him in. Okay?
I think he might be a one and done. Really, I don't know if he's too far away. I don't think he's too far away.
Right, but this is what I'm trying to talk about. This is the start of the culture change. First, you get the coach, right? I hope that he is signed for more than 5 years. Or more than, after his 4 years, I hope he's here to see the team get successful. Do you know what I'm saying? I hope he's able to be here for that, because he is really building the foundation right now with him coming in here right now and setting the tone and making players accountable and setting up the system that he's setting up and setting up all of the situations that he's setting up right now. I honestly think that he's going to be here for more than his contract.
I hope so too. But that really depends on Chuck Fletcher too. I think Chuck Fletcher really needs to this season sell. He needs to sell at the deadline. He needs to go. But if he's still going to be around, he needs to get rid of the people that are aging out. All these older guys, get rid of them. Like you said, go take a Los Angeles Kings approach, take an Anaheim approach. They got rid of all their veterans. They had their cup runs, they had their playoff success, but now they're built young. They have an amazing young core because they got rid of all their veterans. They got a stash of young picks, like Seattle's doing, because they're a new team. They have the time to build a fan base, to be able to go in and build a quality team through the draft. And that's what the Flyers need to do. They need to acquire as many draft picks as they can. And they don't need multiple third and fourth round picks. They need to trade up. They need to get great players, second round talent, as much as they can. I don't care if they have no third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh round draft picks. Trade all that up for 2 or 3 first round or second round picks. All right, and
I'm with you.
Get rid of all of those guys that you can. JVR should be gone. He's an expiring contract. He should be gone at the deadline. You need to get a first or second round pick for him. You don't need to get something 3 years down the road like you did for Claude Giroux. You got 2-3 years out and you'll get a first round pick for him. No, I want something now. I want to start that system now. We're still going to have to wait another year to use that first round pick, that we got for Claude Giroux now.
From Claude Giroux, yeah.
Right. So that is only hindering this rebuild. We should have had one that season along with, Owen Tippett. But now we got to wait a whole nother season after this one before we can draft that, second first round pick and really hopefully try to get a rebuild going.
I agree.
It's hindering. And we need to get as many first and second round picks as possible, third round picks maybe, but we need to get those higher level picks. We need to get an abundance of them. So what if 1 or 2 don't work out? We need to get as many good picks as we can and stockpile the farm system. And like you said, bring them all in and play under one roof. Our high level draft picks, prospects don't need to be playing one in Canada, one in the United States, one over in Germany, one over in Sweden, one in Finland.
Whatever.
If you sign them, once you sign them, they need to come to Philly. They need to go to Lehigh, and they need to be together so that they can play together down in Lehigh, develop there, and then when one of them is good enough to get called up, they go into the same system that is in the NHL. They already know the system. They already know the plays. They just have to play with the players. And then when those other guys come up, they already know them. It's not a stranger that they only seen at draft day when they were drafted with them. And then they played 3 years in the SHL or some crap like that. Bring them over here. Once, if they're good enough to sign, they need to be in, American soil, in PA, playing close to home. So our players, our coaches, our development coaches can get their hands on them and develop them.
I mean, it goes to show you, if you build a team like that, you can be successful. How many of the other teams that in the last 10 years that have won the Stanley Cup have had that similar type of mindset where the draft picks, the top end draft picks, stay close to home? Okay. And if you need to come out and tell everybody, hey, everybody, this is the Philadelphia Flyers and we're rebuilding. we're trying to put players out on the ice that's going to be contention. We don't want to be a one and done team this year. We want to be contention for the next 10 or 5 or whatever.
Right. And you look at those teams, like the Kings, who have done that for the past couple of years, and now they're second in the Pacific Division after being horrible for quite a few years, right? They built up the draft picks, they've been playing them up, they're bringing up the kids, and they're a fun team to watch again. Just like the Kraken, they're getting there, right? They got a young core. They're third in the Pacific. These teams are young. They've done it right.
Kraken right now are 7th, I think, in the Pacific.
Third. 44 points. They got 44 points. It's a close race, but yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams that are all like
43, 42.
Yeah.
All that. But yeah, right now they're third in the Pacific. It's the Golden Knights, the Kings, and then them. So
wow. So they moved up then
they've been winning some games.
Yeah, in the last couple. See, that's the thing, right? See, it's a 5-game swing.
Right.
You win 5 games, boom, that's 10 points. Right? I don't care where you are in the standings, a 10-point jump is going to move you up move you up. You know what I'm saying? More good news for the Flyers is that Carter Hart has been reactivated. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby Brink has been activated and sent to the Phantoms. That's good news.
I'm excited to see that. Yeah.
That's about a month and a half early.
Great.
Right? We weren't expecting anything from him until at least February. We still might not, you know what I mean, until he does a couple weeks of conditioning and
But if it's just exciting that he'll be back on the ice.
Yeah.
And even if he's got that special jersey on that says, don't hit me, it's still getting back on the ice. And this guy was the NCAA point leader last year, guys, for Denver, a national championship team. They are the real deal, and so is he. I really want to see him get in here, and he could be an amazing player alongside, Owen Tippett or TK or somebody needs to get Farabee going again. I know he was injured, but somebody really needs to get him going, and maybe that player could be Bobby Brink. I would love to see him come up if he's truly healthy by the end of the year. If the Flyers are out of it anyway, why not get him some NHL experience, some more NHL games?
I mean, I would bring him up anyway. Once he's able to be healthy, I would bring him in anyway. Right. You know what I mean? They were planning on having him start the season on the team. Right. But the injury sidetracked that. So, I mean, once he's healthy, bring him in. We need the offense.
Right.
We need the production. We need the points. We need the goals. Right. I mean, seriously, that's kind of where the Flyers are right now. No. There's other things that I think that this team needs. But I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the good news parts of the fact that Brink is coming back, the fact that Carter Hart is back or coming back, has been put on the active list. So I'm anticipating there is a game tonight, and then the next game is Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but there's some back-to-backs that are going to happen next week for the schedule. Okay, and if Carter Hart's coming back, I'm anticipating him to be playing, maybe not in tonight's game, but maybe by Sunday's game. I think he should be back playing, I would think, given that he's out of concussion protocol and things of that nature. So,
yeah, I definitely would ride Sam as long as it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
As long as you can. He's got the hot glove.
Give
there.
Give him the hot glove.
Yep. Let him roll until he starts losing.
I mean, he gave up that 5-burger to Carolina, but then came back and played the next 3 games really well.
Yep.
So that bodes well for Ersson. Okay. I thought that of all of the backup goalies, he was the best in the room. Of all of the backup goalies,
mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm saying? Even with Anthony in there and all them other guys, I still thought that Ersson had the better shot of being the best goalie in the room as far as the list of goalies that we had in there. You know what I mean?
I really liked what I saw from him, and even in preseason, but
Yeah.
for some reason that I guess Sandstrom's a little bit older. He's been over here playing a little bit longer, so they went with him instead. But I don't care about anything like that. Sam's been playing in the SHL for years for a horrible team over there, and he was able to still win some games and even squeak them into the playoffs one year. So
Exactly. See,
that's what we need right now, right? The guy we're talking about being able to carry a bad team.
Where's that for Carter Hart? We need to see that from Carter Hart. We need to see that. I think if we see that from Carter Hart the rest of this year, if he's able to come in and carry the team and be that goalie that everybody thinks he can be, I think it's going to go well. But you and I both see the reality of the writing on the wall, and I don't see him with but maybe one shutout if he's lucky.
Mm-hmm.
For the rest of this year. I don't see him winning that many of his games left. I still see him playing, as our friend of the show, JJ, calls him the human eraser. I've seen him make some amazing goals this year, but I need him to win the games instead of just make a couple of amazing goals and being the human eraser. You know what I'm saying?
Stops. Yeah. Making some stops. Yeah, for sure. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what he's able to do coming back. I thought he had a hot start to the season. He was playing really well out of the gate. While the team was skating really well, and they were conditioned obviously with how Torts had the camp run militaristic. So we'll have to see if he can come back with that same grind that he had early on, because I think he got away from that as the season progressed, for sure. So
I agree, and we, as we all know, with goaltenders, it's all about up here. It's 90% mental and 10% physical when it comes to goaltenders. So I would think you'd have to agree with that one, wouldn't you, Lance?
yeah, we're 90% mental, yes.
Yeah, and 10% physical, right?
Well, yeah, I was just saying we're mental in general, so yeah.
No, but I mean, yeah. Oh, so you're going 100% mental. All right, anyway.
Yeah.
So
mental ward.
Any new up and coming fresh pieces in the works?
No, not for the Flyers, I would say. Gonna look over the next couple of games before I'd knock one of those out. Excited for some prospect stuff coming up. Definitely, with the World Junior Championships playing, I was definitely been enjoying some of those games, even though some of them looked a little rigged. But
did you say rigged? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if you were going to go there. I have to say this. I have to go there. That was horrendous in the Canada-United States game. I thought officiating with being a Flyers fan was bad. Okay, look, it's bad when the refs or when the commentators say something. You know what I mean? So that's all I'm going to say about that. But looks like Canada's going to play for the gold medal.
Right.
Against
Czechia.
Yeah. Right. And I'm going to tell you something, right? So I watched the Sweden-Czechia game.
Right. 2-1 overtime. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really like Sweden made the mistake and opened the door, and Czechia is a good enough team where they were able to capitalize on that mistake and score that goal with 39 seconds left in the third period, pulling the goalie, and then going into overtime. So I would like to see sweet justice and see Czechia get the gold.
That's going to be tough. Yeah,
That's going to be a tough ask with that Canadian team.
Wow.
But if they get into the head of the goaltender, it could happen, right?
It all depends who their goaltending, is too. I don't think Canada's goalies are, as strong as they were. So,
And they're
previous
playing that
years.
game today,
Yeah.
right? So they played the semifinals yesterday. The finals is today. So it's a back-to-back games here.
Yeah, it should be fun. They're going to wrap this up, but yeah, I'm excited to see, USA Sweden too. I think that'll be a pretty evenly matched game. I would
I
love to
agree.
see the World Junior Championships come to the United States. I think that needs to happen. It's been all over the world and really hasn't been, in the United States. They have some great, you know,
So it has to be an international ice, though, right?
yeah. But I
Okay.
mean, how many Olympic places that, Salt Lake? Why
That's
couldn't
the
Salt
only,
Why couldn't Salt Lake, hold it for sure? So
but that's the only place in the United
right,
States that would potentially be capable of doing that. Do you know what I mean?
right.
I don't know of any.
As arenas go, yeah, you want to fill some seats. Um, I don't know. I would have to do some research on that, but definitely, Salt Lake has the facility there. Uh, you know, what New York has had the Olympics back then too. So I don't know how that stadium's holding up and stuff over there. So
And
that's a
Lake
little bit
Placid.
older. Lake Placid, that's it's a little older
Yeah,
right
I don't.
now.
I know that there are some of the things there at Lake Placid. I know they still do some of like the ski jumps and they still do some of the alpine
Mm.
events there. But as for the most part, I don't know if even the hockey rink is even still there.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like I said, we'd have to do some research, but it needs to come. I think that the American people need to get behind this tournament more, because it's definitely some good hockey, and it's just missing us. Not enough people are talking about this. It's not getting played on ESPN or anything like that, as much as the basketball game from last night or whatever it is, or the baseball games, going on. This is
I'm with
at
you.
times, this needs to be. This is a high level tournament of some amazing young talents that will be NHL players. Most of
Well,
them in their own right, in the next few years. So
Well, you're looking at teams number ones and number two draft picks
yeah,
playing for these world junior teams.
right.
Do you know what I'm saying? They're playing for their respected countries, and these teams and these games and these tournaments are no slouch. You know what I mean? In fact, here's the other thing too, right? Because these are the national teams.
Right.
These are the same teams then that play in the Olympics.
Well, could, yeah, could, if the NHL,
Allowed
is
that.
held out of it again or whatever. These would probably be the kids. I mean, uh, Connor Bednard hands and skates above everybody else. He's almost doubled the field there. He's got 23 points in this tournament, and Logan Cooley, who was a top 3 pick by Arizona, I think has 12. So, and that's a second place guy in this tournament. So, um, this is some great talent here, and I mean he could be on an NHL club and starting, and probably will be next year. So.
It won't be the Flyers, but he'll be he'll be on a starting club next year. That's for sure.
I heard some
You know,
nasty rumors about Gary Bettman. I'm not going to discuss on this, but yeah,
okay.
about just that. So,
Well, there you go, folks. Well, listen, first of all, we would like to say huge thank you to our sponsors, Manscaped. Yeah, buddy. All you have to do is go to manscaped.com, pick up the Performance Package Pro, which Lance and I both use and both stand behind 100%. I mean, it's a great product. It takes care of what it needs to take care of, if you know what I'm talking about. and all you have to do is go order everything that you need to order, the performance package and the whole 9 yards. You get a great T-shirt with it. You get a pair of boxers with it as well too. So and also you get the awesome lawnmower 4.0. So you got to check that out. But you can go to manscaped.com and get 20% off your entire order. Free worldwide shipping all over the world, right? So it doesn't matter where you live. You can order your Manscaped products. Type in the code Hockey Writers Ink, all one word, and get 20% off. So if you didn't get what you wanted for Christmas, all you have to do is go to manscaped.com, type in Hockey Writers Ink, and get 20% off your next order. So there you go, man.
And Steel, not only the men, but females watching the show. This is a great gift for your man, for sure. You'll appreciate as well. So,
exactly, you know what I mean. 7 million men worldwide are now part of the Manscaped Ballers Club, right? They know the exact quality of what's going on here with this product. So we're happy to be able to talk about it because we're both users of the product. And so, all you have to do is go and type in the code and get 20% off. And big thank you to Manscaped. Really appreciate you guys doing the sponsor for that. Also, Lance, tell the folks where we can get you and where you can find all your great articles.
Sure. You can find all my great articles on SteelFlyers.com. And you can catch me on Twitter at Lance.Green39.
You can also catch Lance as the host of Prospect Watch, which is another great show that we do. And of course, he's the host of this great show as well, too, and the editor-in-chief of SteelFlyers.com. Thank you, Lance, for another great show.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Definitely got some good stuff on the Prospect Watch coming up, hopefully. Got some workings happening behind the scenes, so hopefully we'll have another good show there as well, since you brought it up.
Sure. Yep. And we might even do a World Junior wrap up from the Prospect Watch show, maybe.
Sure.
Depending on how we're feeling, right? So there you go. You can catch me at steelflyers.com/links/Hockey Writers Ink, where you can get all the rest of the great Steel Flyers All Sports Network talent, from the Pearl of Wisdom to the Peyton on the Radio to the 5-Star Radio with Steel. Of course, Hockey Writers Ink, the Steel Flyers podcast, and of course, the Nittany Report and all the other great shows and talents we have out there at the Steel Flyers All Sports Network. Thank you for watching the Hockey Writers Ink. We'll catch you all on the next episode.